What's up? It's Joe Rady from Rady's Rides. We're back here in my backyard, and of course I have that small, actually the smallest crossover SUV from Honda that's been totally redesigned. This is it. This is a 2023 Honda HR-V. This particular one is the top trim known as the EXL. But before we get into this all-wheel drive, small size, but with big features SUV, let's talk about what's going on here. Honda, they're going through their lineup. It seems that every 5 years, there's that cycle where they start making some big changes to their lineup all at once. We've already seen the 11th generation Civic. Obviously, we got the upcoming CR-V. They're supposed to unveil the Honda and the Pilot very soon, but now we have the redesigned HR-V. This being their smallest size crossover is a go-to for many people, especially living in tighter city dwellings that need something with some room, but also with the ease of driving in tight spaces. Now, what's fascinating is that this is a sub-compact crossover SUV, but it's actually grown a little bit in size to kind of teeter-totter between subcompact and compact. Now, in this category of the auto industry, it's pretty much on fire. You have vehicles like the Hyundai Kona, the Kia Seltos, of course the Mazda CX-30, the Nissan Kicks, the list goes on and on. What I want to do is I want to compare it to another part of the competition that actually is a little larger for a subcompact as well. That's going to be the Volkswagen Taos. So let's go ahead, let's dive in our EXL and see, is it the better small SUV for your money over the Volkswagen Taos? So let's go ahead, let's dive into our 2023 HR-V and find out. Right off the bat, you'll notice a new unique color. This is an optional color called Nordic Forest Green. It's kind of like a bluish gray with a little tinge of green. At the front of the business, I like what they've done with the headlights. Now you have your three different trims, LX, Sport, and EXL. On the EXL, you'll notice you have your LED headlights, LED turn signals, and daytime running lamps. Very, very similar appearance to some of the other Honda products, and I kind of like that. I like the way they're blending some of those touches, those styling touches across all their vehicles. Now, as we come down, we have some nice sharp angles, some metallic gloss black. So as we kind of zoom in, you'll see you have this large open mouth corner air curtain to help channel that air. And then this isn't just your regular gloss black, it actually has a metal flake to it to kind of make it pop, almost like a carbon flash metallic from General Motors. But I definitely think much more aggressive, much more sporty on this HR-V compared to the previous generation. Now, as we come across the grille area, this is where you see some more of that similar styling across the products. You're gonna have that metallic gloss black grille. Love the way they do this crisscross design with the Honda badge. Another thing that's interesting is that if you go to other parts of the world, their HR-V actually is styled differently than the one here in the United States. But if you're comparing this to the Volkswagen Taos, I actually think that this has the more sporty, fun appearance compared to the Taos. Taos looks like a small size, Tiguan or one of their other SUVs. This definitely has a nice sporty feel to it. Now, as you work your way down, we have more functionality on the bottom with that crisscross lace design, flat black on this lower portion of the grille, and then that metallic gloss black, but definitely looking wider, which this vehicle is, compared to the previous generation. Now, when we get up onto that low slung hood, all you have is a rise that starts on the front fascia and goes into the hood and then disappears. So very, very clean style. Coming around the bend, what are we working with wheel and tire setup? Now, the good news is you could get an 18-inch wheel on your HR-V. The bad news is this top trim doesn't have it. This is actually a 17-inch wheel, but this is the higher end of the wheels. What that means is we have this machined aluminum star in the center, machined aluminum accents around the edge, and then a metallic gray finish. If you want the 18-inch wheel, you actually have to go one trim lower. That's the Sport trim. And we actually did that review here on Rady's Rides. If you haven't seen it, I'll leave it at the end of this one. But if you're wondering, well, Joe, what is the size of the tire? 215 on the width and a meaty 60 series sidewall. We have that all-wheel drive that's going to send power from the front to the rear to give you that grip. And you'll notice that we have that metallic gloss black around the fender openings. Now, comparing this to the Taos has a lot of flat black plastic. The Taos, though, does have the larger, better looking wheel. And we'll talk more about power in a few moments. Now, as we come down the side, color matched on the mirror caps, LEDs, turn signals in those mirrors, color matched on the door handles, and I like the way there's a little bit of gloss black along the lower section. This one does have a standard size sunroof, no shiny bright metalwork. So I'm happy to report that there's nothing shiny on the side of the vehicle. I do like the way they work the quarter window. And I think, like I said, overall, most people would say, let me know what you think in the comment section. Does this look like a more fun, sporty crossover SUV compared to the Taos? Now, as we come around the back, what are we working with? You got a low roof spoiler, color matched on the shark fin antenna up top. Remember, that's that Nordic forest green, one of two new colors for 2023. And then they did a bang up job on the taillights. LED turn signals, LED brake lights. I like the way they blacked out everything on the interior. The one thing I don't like is this thing here. You know how I feel about that. So we are gonna zonk that, but I'm glad that they're just going back to the simplicity of the all-wheel drive sticker rather than a badge. That's all I need to let somebody know behind me that we have all-wheel drive. Simple and clean. Same thing as we work our way down. I just like the way it's just a nice flush feel to the back. The bumper does not stick out. Easy to back into those tighter spots. You got your HRV badge, and then everything clear on the bottom, clear and clean. I would have liked to seen some type of exhaust outlet, maybe with a stainless steel tip, because this is the top EXL trim. But other than that, very clean on the back. Why don't we go ahead, let's pop the hood and see what's powering our HRV. Right, guys, we got the hood popped. You do have a prop rod. I do like on the HRV how the prop rod is all the way over to the passenger side. The prop rod on the Taos is like smack dab in the center. What do we got under there? First of all, we got a lot of space. Second of all, you have that tried and true, take a licking, keep on ticking power plant from Honda. What is it? It's a 2-liter inline-4 naturally aspirated engine producing 158 horsepower, 138 pound-feet of torque. It is mated to a CVT transmission. So I am gonna zonk that. I was hoping that it would be mated to a more conventional 9-speed automatic. It does have all-wheel drive. 0 to 60, this is not the car you want to take to a drag strip. 8.3 seconds, 0 to 60. Top speed is 115 miles per hour, but where you're gonna win are in the MPGs. With the all-wheel drive example, you're looking at almost 27 miles per gallon in the city, 32 on the highway. If we're comparing that to the Taos SEL, that vehicle has a 1.5-liter turbocharged engine producing 158 horsepower, but more torque, 184 pound-feet of torque, and it's mated to a 7-speed DCT when you go all-wheel drive, 25 in the city, 32 on the highway for that vehicle. I'll be honest, even though I'm not the largest fan of the engagement of a CVT, how that engaged driving experience is, this one has been revised. The DCT and the Volkswagen Taos, definitely not one of my favorite transmissions. I actually enjoy driving this particular HRV a little bit more. But why don't we go ahead, let's get to the interior and see what big things are in store on this small HRV. All right, guys, we're inside this totally redesigned Honda HRV. I know you're saying to yourself, well, Joe, this is exactly what I need. I've been looking at small crossover SUVs. I'll be honest with you, I drove the past generation HRV and it was very dated. I can't wait to see what this one's all about, but the bottom line is, how much is it? So this being an EXL trim, top trim, and has an optional color, MSRP is $30,590. Let's see how it stacks up against the mighty Taos. To the door panels, clean Honda style. I like the soft touch material up top. No gloss black to report whatsoever on that door panel. Even around the switchgear, even the way they did the contrast stitching gives it some nice style. The only thing that's a zonk is gonna be the door pocket. Very, very tight. And you'll notice that there's these ruffles. There's like these ridges on the door panel, like a Ruffles potato chip. It's there for style. You're not seeing anything that's not movie magic. That's the style that Honda wanted to bring. But guess what? It makes sense because that door pocket's so small The only thing you're gonna be able to put there is a small bag of Ruffles potato chips and a bottle of Surge to wash it down. Now, going from the door panel to the dash, soft touch material. You're gonna notice the same kind of style as in the 11 Gen Civic with this wire mesh finish hiding all the AC vents, a little bit of silver trim, and then what do we got in the center? When you go EXL, you're getting that 9-inch infotainment system screen, all touchscreen, wireless Apple CarPlay, wireless Android Auto. What's nice is all the different widgets you can move around and have it perfectly set up to the things that you like to use every day when you're driving your vehicle. Going into reverse, it does take up almost all 9 inches, but the resolution definitely needs to be improved, but I like the trajectory, especially the way it changes color. Kind of cool there. You'll notice a Civic Type R sitting there. We actually parked it there on purpose because this is a Honda review. I could tilt the camera, which is great, different angles. We could actually look, that almost looks like where they landed the lunar moon mission. Doesn't that look like a moon crater there? But that's the view straight down at the asphalt. And then check it out, we're right back where we started. More of that wire mesh. I like the way they did the touches with the stitching all the way over to where the start-stop button is. It illuminates bright red to let you know that the engine is fired up. Speaking of fire, we do have 3 stages of heated seats, no ventilated seats, and that's a little bit of a zonk at this price point, but I do love the dual climate control. And do you hear that click? Listen to that. It's like a Wells Fargo safe from 1921, lock tight, just like the reliability of this engine. Wireless charging down below, USB-A, 2 cup holders. What about key fob? We got a new key fob. Honda, obviously, because this is a Honda product. I do like the key fob a lot better than the one in the Volkswagen Taos. And you got remote start. More of this wonderful stitching. This is going to control that CVT transmission with some of that stylish stitching. And then one of my favorite designs is down below. You actually have a Twinkie tray, 3 Twinkies with this bridge system, and there's USB-A's on both sides, which is great. We do have our drive mode selector. Because we do have all-wheel drive, we do have a snow mode and hill descent control. Your Volkswagen Taos doesn't even know what that is. Soft touch material, even on the armrest. Push that tasteful button. What do we got? We got enough room for you to put your balls in there. So basically about 4 baseballs. So once you're done playing with your balls, you can put your balls in there, especially if they're signed by anybody. But that's kind of a weird thing to think about, having somebody sign your balls. But if you have a baseball and you are a baseball collector, that could be an important thing for you. Close it up. Seats, they're leather, not pleather, not fake. These are leather seats, so I definitely want to thank the cows that sacrificed their lives for these seats. Great stitching, perforated material, all the way down, stitch work. The zonk, manual seat controls for the passenger. It should not be that way in an EXL trim if this is the top trim. But look up top. We do have a standard size sunroof, which is really nice. But why don't you come over to the business end? I want to show you behind the new wheel in the new HRV. All right, guys, business time behind the wheel. Now remember, I'm 6 feet tall, plenty of room in here. That's where you're really going to be amazed, especially over the previous generation. But both the Taos and this HRV do have a lot of room. You do have your power seat controls, easy to get to on the lower side of the seat. And then steering. The wheel is what Honda does best. I love the thickness, the stitch work all the way around, just a little bit of gloss black. Everything else is going to be flat black. And then you'll notice that it is a manual tilting and telescoping steering wheel. No paddles to worry about. And then the dash. You got a 7-inch digital display and an analog speedometer. Not my favorite, but I do like the way the digital display brings the whole area of the tachometer, your fuel gauge, and then of course the different modes in the center. Normal, Econ, and then snow mode. And it gives you a little picture of Frosty the Snowman getting run over by an HRV. So that's kind of cool. You do have sport as well, but that's actually not a mode. What they do is you have to take the shifter and put it on the S. Not for slow, but for sport. But we'll put it back in the park because we need to get to the back seat and see how this stacks up against the Volkswagen. All right, guys, back seat time. And this is an area where you're really going to notice, wow, this HRV has lots of room. And that's what I was saying in the earlier portion of this review, is that small things can have very big surprises on the inside. So I didn't shrink. I got plenty of room back here. You actually have LED lighting for the interior lights, which is a nice touch. Now the backs of the seats, there's no pocket on the driver's side. So if you do have your personal pan pizza from Pizza Hut and you need to put it somewhere, I wouldn't sit behind the driver. Come sit behind the passenger because you got plenty of room for 2 personal pan pizzas. And then command center, not much of a command center. What do we got? We got this big open space. So I guess you could put some atomic fireballs, maybe some Jolly Ranchers in there. Would have been nice to have rear AC, especially on the top trim. And then there's another thing. What do we got? Knock, knock. You got a plastic rectangle. Where's my USB-C, my USB-A? Maybe a 12 volt so I could drive to Target and buy an adapter, a USB adapter for the 12 volt. They give you nothing back here. And that is a big zonk. But you get plenty of space. Another thing, no center armrest. So it's one of those things. More room is a plus, but little things like an armrest on a long trip makes your life a little bit easier when you're the passenger. Plus it gives you a place to contemplate life. Like I can't sit here and scratch the hair on my chin and think about life and where, like how many licks does it take to get to the center of a Tootsie Roll? I can't do that. The Tootsie Roll Pops, can't do it back here. But why don't we go ahead, let's see how many Tootsie Roll Pops we could put in the cargo area of this new HRV. All right, guys, time to get into that cargo area. This is where there's gonna be some surprises. Hit the button. It is manual lift, so you're gonna have to use your muscles, but remember, the beach is exactly that way, but the great news is it's not very heavy, so it's not a big deal. What you are getting that's a big deal is the amount of room. Over 24 cubic feet of space. I love how low the entry level is. What I don't love is I wish the cargo floor was just a little bit lower to give me more of an edge here. Think about it. You just got home. You went grocery shopping. You got 5 watermelons back here. You're parked on a steep driveway. You open it up, and then there goes your 5 watermelons rolling down the road. That's not a fun experience. Don't ask me how I know. You do have a nice carved out nook for that official Honda size box of Twinkies. And then you do have LED lighting in the back. The great news is, I know some of you might be saying, well, Joe, there's no more magic seats like on the previous generation. Well, Honda says you don't need any magic. The magic is in the design because there's actually more room. And it's easy to flip down the seats. 1, 2, 3. Go to Costco. Go to Sam's Club. Those are gonna fold down very easily. As you can see, the seat was a little far back, but we're gonna keep on going here on Rady's Rides. Ribbed, just like on the door panels for your pleasure. And we have a 12 volt, so you could go do that Cub Scouts meeting and fire up the electric toaster oven, and you could get the s'mores going because you're not allowed to start a fire where you have your meetings. But why don't we go ahead? I know one thing we could start is we could start up this HRV, and if you're ready, I'm ready. Let's go on throttle and see how it drives. All right, guys, we're behind the wheel of this 2023 Honda HRV. Let me do a little bit of an acceleration here on throttle. I do have it in sport, so if you're ready, I'm ready. On throttle, here we go. So you can hear those simulated shifts taking place. It is sluggish. I mean, 0 to 60 in a little over 8 seconds. There's no way to really get around that, and that's not what this vehicle is about. I do like the simulated shifts, and compared to the Taos, I do like the way it accelerates a little bit more efficiently off the line, even though the Taos has a 7-speed DCT with the all-wheel drive, but it is struggling power-wise, especially with off the line. But once you get rolling, it does have some decent passing power, which is good. The dash is easy to read, easy to understand. I like the way you could scroll through different information, which makes it very versatile. And then handling, that's where the Honda HRV trumps the Taos, is definitely going to be in the handling. They do a great job with overall feel and connectivity to what the front wheels are doing. We got the all-wheel drive, so we got the stick and the grip. And then, of course, The highway cruising of this vehicle range-wise is very, very good because of that great highway MPGs. Seats, they're supportive. I just don't like the way they're you sort of feel like you're sitting in a bucket a little bit. I would like a little bit more cushion in the center portion of the seat, both on the bottom and the back. But other than that, everywhere else you touch is very soft touch material and it feels comfortable and good. Getting to the infotainment system, you may say what you want about the floating iPad style infotainment system screen. It is well within reach and it's very easy to read. But let's go ahead and go on throttle to show the passing of this HRV on throttle. So like I said, I think for a city dwelling subcompact crossover SUV, I think it's gonna be just fine for you. You got plenty of space on the interior, especially with this new generation. And then riding down the road, they did a great job with the chassis. You're not getting a bunch of vibration in the cabin of the vehicle. And there's really not too much road noise or wind noise, even with the sunroof. But visibility out the back is really great. Side mirrors are awesome. You got all the updated Honda sensing technology, which is wonderful. I just wish that at the price point, they could have gave us ventilated seats. That would have been a nice extra touch. But definitely the interior of this HRV brings a better feel than the Taos. The Taos feels a little too low end, even on the higher trims. All right, guys, getting back onto the highway on throttle. We got some ripped up pavement here. See how the HRV does. Soaks up bumps very nicely. And like I said, I think the best part is just how good the steering feedback is to the front wheels. That really shows the work that Honda has done over the years with their different vehicles. Plus the storage locations and the way that they're laid out in this new HRV are very well done on top of that. But hopefully this has been a nice overall review of the HRV, the top trim, the EXL compared to the Taos. We're gonna get back to where it all started and wrap this one up, so I'll see you in a split second. Hey guys, it's been a wonderful day in the USA with this 2023 Honda HRV. I definitely gotta thank the whole Honda team for allowing Ready's Rides even more access to this press fleet vehicle. Let me know what you think. Has Honda struck small crossover SUV gold with the HRV? Would you rather go Volkswagen Taos? Let me know in that comment section. But if you're new to the channel and you're on your way out, hit that subscribe button. I promise you it's worthwhile. Come back for more. If you are a subscriber, thank you for being part of the Ready's Rides family. We definitely got to give it up to Stephen Flood Photography, working that camera like a champ. He's about to take one of these HRVs on a cross-country trip to go skiing in the Alaskan mountains. So wish him luck. Thank you, Stephen, for all that you do. And just like always, guys, I'll see you on the next ride.